way down south in the land of cotton melody untiring, ain't that inspiring? Hurrah, hurrah, we'll join the Jubilee, and that's going some for the Yankees by gum. Red, white, and blue, I am for you, honest, you're a grand old flag. You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave.
Hi everyone, it's Surface Nerd. Today I know it's been a little bit since I've last posted, but today I'm going to be doing a video kind of just for the algorithm, but yeah. So today we're going to be talking about, I'm going to give my opinions on the M1956 equipment, likes, dislikes, stuff like that. So first things first, we're going to talk about the actual equipment itself, how it overall works, then we'll get into details about, it being used in certain environments. So first things first, this is all, of course, made out of canvas. That is something to note, and we'll get into that a little bit later. There is some second pattern stuff that adds a bit more of nylon later on, yeah, that's a future-on thing. And now, compared to M1967, it's not as good, but compared to the M1928 stuff and, all the World War II and Korean War stuff, it's a lot better, and we'll get into that. So the actual base equipment, don't mind the bayonet, that's not part of it, is the web belt, 2 canteens, or 1, ammunition pouches, suspenders, and a first aid pouch, and the butt pack. Of course, there's 2 other pieces, the sleeping wool tent, or the sleeping wool holder and the butt pack adapter, but I'm not going to talk about those because those weren't really used in Vietnam all that much. You do see them somewhat used, but the adapter was barely used really that much, and the sleeping roll holder was not ever used for a sleeping roll. So yeah. So there's a lot of positives to this equipment. One thing that's really different from all of their previous equipment is there's no cartridge belt. And in this case, instead, we're using the pistol belt. This is the M1956 pistol belt, which has a slightly different clamp system from the War II one, but not totally different. We got 3 rings, the middle one for the adjustment of the belt, and then the 2 on top and the 2 on bottom are for the hooks. These would be for M1910 hooks. These are for the suspenders. The pistol belt is a little bit interesting compared to, everything else. But why we're using a pistol belt is because of the new attachment system. Instead of everything using the 1910 hooks, we have the these hooks right here, these slide keepers. They're not Alice clips. Technically, they are Alice clips, but at this time they're called slide keepers. So, yeah. But why we're using a pistol belt instead of a cartridge belt is because we have actual ammunition pouches now that are separate from the actual belt itself. Ever since then, what a cartridge belt is, what we've been using ever since then, is a belt with the ammunition pouches already attached to it, like what we used in World War I, World War II, and even the Spanish American War, technically. However, now we've switched to a more British style, which is having these boxy universal ammunition pouches that are attached separately to the belt. Another thing with these clips, and a good positive of them, is that it allows the equipment to be very modular. So you can really assort this however you like. You can move your first aid pouch down here. You can put a canteen wherever you want. You can put an ammunition pouch wherever you want. It makes the equipment very modular, unlike the cartridge belts, which you can't really do much with. Everything's just attached with 1910 hooks on the bottom. And it's a very meticulous system. Now, the butt pack itself, I'll talk about that. I don't really like it, but I'll get to that. Yeah, so ammunition pouches. The pistol belt is great. I love the pistol belt. Works really nice, and it's perfect for modularity. No real negatives to it really all that much. It's load carrying equipment, or load-bearing equipment. Yeah. Ammunition pouches, I must say, I don't really have too many complaints about them. These are originally made for the M14. The only complaint I would have is with M16 magazines. They are sunken down, so you do need to have something at the bottom to lift them up, so they're easier to get out. But again, these were made for the M14, so you can't really gripe too much about that. The opening system is actually quite nice. It's a lot easier than the lift the dot snaps that the World War I and World War II systems had. Literally, it's just a pull tab, and then if you want to close it, put the rings over and push it back in. It's really simple. However, on some of them, like this one, which I'm not going to pull, they can get kind of snug and hard to do. But a lot of times they're really easy to open, and I don't know. I just love it. That's a really cool addition to it. Another really cool and amazing addition to the ammunition pouches are the grenade holders. As you can see here, we have two little pockets on each side with some straps to hold in the grenades. The pocket holding the spool pin. Spool pin, right? Yes. So another amazing added addition to these ammunition pouches. Really the only complaint I could have is with closing it. In the heat of combat, I have found that actually generally closing it is not the easiest, and you can tend to end up doing this. It is possible, very possible, to when you're trying to close it, not put that down the right thing. Although it's not the hardest thing to do, you're not always going to get it, and that's why when we get the M96-7 stuff, that is a lot easier. I will say I do miss having that pull tab. That is so much easier to open, and it really isn't that hard, to be fair. It's pretty easy. With the M96-7 stuff, it's with the same thing with the house. You have that clip that you pinch and lift open. I really don't know if that's that much better, but I will say I really do love the pull tab. It's quite nice. With the Canteen pouches, we have a first pattern and a second pattern here. These are all segmented, by the way. Excuse me. There's really not much to complain about. They're Canteen pouches. They're 1 quarts. There's not really much of a difference. I will say it's definitely a big improvement from the lift the dot stuff. We go back to the older snap system that we had in World War One. Some things in World War One had this system actually exactly, and we went back to it, and it is a lot easier to do lift the dot snaps just because you have to get those kind of precisely. For this, it's kind of just an easy snap on. Now, one thing you could see compared to lift the dot is they can break a little bit easier, but that's not too bad of a problem, and it doesn't really happen all that much. Otherwise, there's really, again, nothing to complain about. They're Canteen pouches. They do what they need to do. The suspenders, again, not really much to complain about. Adjusting is a little difficult. It's not horrible, but it's really hard to do when you're doing it by yourself. The M96-7 and all this stuff definitely improves it by just a pull tab and a friction tab that you just pull or loosen like you would on the straps of your backpack, modern school backpack. These are a little harder to do, but it's not too horrible. Only complaint would probably be the closing straps. These are kind of annoying, I must say. That's one thing about the M56 is, but the Allison and all that has this too. These are kind of annoying. They're not my most favorite thing to have, but they don't really come into too much of a problem. And I do like them for the fact that they do make sure these ammunition pouches don't sag, which is great because that hurts. Trust me, I've had these loose, and that does not feel good on your hips. The suspenders overall are pretty comfortable. I mean, you probably could improve the padding a little bit, but they're really not that bad. They have 2 straps up here, which you can attach things onto, such as a first aid pouch. Overall, suspenders, pretty good. And they do support the equipment very, very well. The first aid pouch is great. Has the same easy lift system. There's really not much to it. Bandage / compass pouch. It's great for what it needs to do. There's, again, not really much complaints. Now the butt pack. I have my complaints. So first things first, where you're actually supposed to put it, which is down here, and then it connects to suspenders, it sucks. It really does suck. The one thing I hate about the M56 equipment the most is the butt pack. When you have it on your belt and you have it pretty full, it sucks to wear. It will strain your back. It really pulls down on your back. It's not really comfortable to wear at all. And like I said, it's really pulling on your back. With how far down it is, it's pulling on all of your back. Now with the adapter, and when it would be like on the top of your back, like a backpack, that's not that bad. That would be a lot better. But if you have it all the way down on the belt, it really, really sucks and really strains your back. So I hate it for that. However, I will say, we have these two little straps here that you can attach things like canteens to, which is great. And the overall system is not that bad. It's basic. It's a basic pack. It's really actually pretty good. The pack itself is nice. However, I feel like just the placement of it's not that good. Also, it's not too big, which isn't bad per se, but it's definitely, a rucksack would definitely be preferred over this any day. But the bottom straps are nice to hold your poncho and other things if you need them down there. So overall design of the pack is not that bad. However, where it's placed without the adapter where it's supposed to be typically and where it usually is, sucks, and it really hurts your back. And a butt pack is just way better than this. Or sorry, a rucksack is way better than the butt pack. Now, when it comes to the actual environments these were used in literally anywhere the United States was. For colder environments, I would say these would be really good and probably preferred. However, when we talk about Vietnam, that's where we get a few problems. And the main problem is the canvas itself. Canvas, when it gets wet, stays wet. It stays soaked, and it becomes quite heavy. And that's not very fun to deal with. And that can become a really big problem. That's why they would switch to the M57 stuff, which is nylon, which is water resistant, which knocked out that problem. However, the one thing they did incorporate was these drain holes, which they're not on the canteen pouches, which kind of sucks, but they're on everywhere else. And they're also not on the butt pack. But these drain holes are very helpful, and they do quite nice. If water was to get in, it's going to come out, which is pretty nice, I must say. Them not being in the canteen still kind of sucks. And the butt pack, although it doesn't have drain holes, it has a rubberized liner to keep all your contents waterproof, which is a really, really nice detail. This is the M56-61 vet pack, so of course it has a rubberized liner. The standard 56 doesn't, so that's great. You can have that. So in Vietnam, this equipment actually isn't that bad. Besides the fact that if it gets wet, you're screwed, which is the biggest downside of it. Otherwise, it works pretty well. It's actually not that heavy of equipment, especially if you distribute the weight properly. The suspenders are great, and unlike World War II, where we have a haversack attached to our suspenders, we don't have that anymore, and the rucksack can easily just be put over them, and you can take it off if needed. Overall, it's pretty good. Of course, like I said, the biggest thing I hate is the butt pack. I despise this thing. It works, but I don't like it. I really don't like it. But yeah, otherwise, the M56 equipment is overall pretty good equipment, in my opinion. Again, this is my opinion. For Vietnam, when it getting wet, that is the biggest problem. But I'm going to stop yapping because I'm just repeating myself. So, yeah. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.
You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave.